B. It is right next to the B character on the keyboard, so maybe it was
Why
supposed
would
to
he
be a
even
B.
say my balls?
Will do. Holy, he's so happy. That's awesome. I love it when we make them happy. All right, yeah, cue it up. Let's do it. Let's jump into the finals. It's Tempo Storm versus We back here in GCD Pro League Tournament number 5, who will be the champion of the last tournament before the real finale. Here we go. The Grand Arena has popped. I'll see you all in a hot minute. What? Welcome everyone to the Grand Arena, and We back is running. Wait. That's not just an Affliction Warlock coming out from Majidin. That is also a Feral Druid coming out from Asper. And Resto shouted for Floria. They're literally all changing their spec and class up. Tempo Storm
It's
may be
smart,
caught by
but
surprise, man. Here we go.
how good is Hung?
How
How
good
good
is
is Hung?
How good
I don't know
is
how good he
Hung?
is. Chanimal is a god of lock. Like, he can make you feel embarrassed playing against him on a lock as well. So let's see how well I think Majidin can do on this lock.
We're going to find out here as we go into this game. Mitch, though, he's not playing on a Boom King. He's playing on a Feral Druid. He's going to get cloned up right away by Goreki. And I feel like we're in for a dampener here, man. I mean, if both of these teams do play it correctly, theoretically, neither one will give themselves the opportunity to kill one another. But looks like Hung is playing it way back. I should just call him Majidin. Whoops. I don't actually have him on the UI changed, so his name is Hung. Bash on the Goreki from Asper into the full clone. Asper on Mitch is going to go ahead and connect over onto Dampener, the Elemental Shaman. He's going to kick him on that fire. Hung using his Demon Soul. He's trying to get some damage going out. But Chanimal also is putting the pressure on Weeback with his Demon Soul as well.
Yeah, we can see Channel's doing quite a bit of pressure at the moment. Asper still has that incarnation. They're looking to maybe try and bait an Iron Bark or a Sham Rage before using it. That first Dark Soul from Majin, not getting too much done. Now getting Windshear to think on that Haunt. A lot of damage from Jamili onto Hung the Warlock. He gets locked again on the Haunt. He goes for the defensive Shadow Fury here, dipping dangerously low. Feloria going to dispel his dots, try and stabilize him. As we're getting a nice Cyclone over onto Goreki. He's got that Incarnation rolling, but he's waiting to use the Berserk. Now popping the Berserk onto, I think, Jamili. He's trying to leap over actually onto Chanimal, or sorry, onto Goreki. Just soloing him with the Incarnation. As we're doing quite a lot of damage, but he's going to get bashed up, maybe even cloned. Goreki doesn't want to risk it. Going to just bash him up, heal his team back up, deal with this Feral Druid Incarnation very effectively. Only trading out the Shamanistic Rage, and Tempo Storm are going to stabilize.
Yes, they are. And, you know, I feel like We back, they're just going to... It's going to be a longer game, no matter how you look at it, I feel. If they want to survive and pull back and wait for dampening, or if they're even in their face, I think Tempo Storm is well equipped to survive through the pressure, the spread pressure of We back. But it looks like We back wants to be in their face as Goreki gets lower and lower in health, as well as Dampener. And the spread pressure of this Feral Lock Shaman seems to be doing quite well so far. Dampener at 50% health here. Chanimal's also getting raked up from Asper as well. And there's a double Shadow Fury coming out from Hung. He's going to get locked out on his Haunt, however, to follow it up with the damage. And Tempo Storm, looks like both teams are kind of low in health. Mitch actually getting bashed up and getting chunked down to 45% health here. Can Feloria make something happen? The Survival Instincts as well. The Hellstone comes out from Asper as he jumps right back onto Chanimals. Feloria still having to force a Trinket there, as Tempo Storm is still forcing some defensive cooldowns out from Weeback.
Yeah, we can see that We back bring out this composition. They're trying to out-dampen the Dampener. Let's see if they can do it here. Hung taking a lot of damage in the center of the map. Will he just go down? He Hellstones. Feloria dispels his dots, playing very greedy. Not going to be using that Spirit Link, trying to recover here, but that was the Hellstone out from Majidin's Warlock. Haunt's flying over onto Jamili's Ellie Shaman as Asper moves in on that Feral Druid, getting full bleeds up onto everyone. Asper actually playing pretty well here on this Feral Druid. Let's see how well Feloria and Majidin can back him up. Full bleeds are now ticking. We'd like to see some full dots out from Hung here. He's having a hard time, and going up against Chanimal as a Warlock, like, gets locked out again by Jamili. It can be such an infuriating thing. Chanimal is Definitely one of the kings of the Warlock mirrors in terms of counter spells. Flurry dispelling some dots over onto Asper. Asper leaping over in onto Gorecki. Gorecki going to pre-bear farm, stun up Asper, getting that trinket actually baited out before the incarnation. So Asper will not have that trinket when his big cooldown comes up. We can see Hyung popping his Dark Soul, trying to get some dots rolling here. Gorecki caught into the bash, double Shadow Fury out from Majidin. He's trying to get that UA, but he does get counterspelled by Chanimals, just continuing to shut him down. And it seems like Majidin's having such a hard time, gets locked out again. He just cannot get the cast off. He needs to catch a break.
He really does. Demon Soul's going to be fading for him for now, so that's going to stop a lot of the damage that he's going to be putting out as well. And it looks like both these teams are just completely stable. Asper, though, running in and getting a maim full Cyclone, and swapping over onto Chanimal is going to get feared up by that Horrify into the full fear. He'll get dispelled out of that, however, from Feloria, keeping his Feral Druid back into the game. But both of these teams not really investing too heavily on overextending. But as I say that, Asper's just nonchalantly popping his wall and sticking inside Tempo Storm's face pretty consistently here. We're 30 short seconds away from dampening, and that's really when things are about to heat up. Gorecki at 69% mana and Floria at 76% mana. Both of these healers are going to be well equipped with their mana pools to be able to deal with it. Mitch actually getting into the bash, getting chunked down, forcing the Trinket Spirit Link out from Feloria, and Tempo Storm finding those small opportunities and getting the defensive cooldowns they need over and over again. Mitch still has that one Survival Instincts available to him, as well as Incarnation and Berserk. And I'm sure he's trying to hold on for an opportune moment, maybe even in dampening.
Yeah, Incarnation, Dark Soul available for Weeback. They have a lot of burst potentially. Who are they going to go on to? Gorecki gets locked out. I wouldn't be surprised to see Incarnation here pretty soon out from Asper. But once again, Majin gets locked on that Haunt. He's maybe just trying to bait through the interrupts so that he can free cast with the Dark Soul. But Chanimal still has one more spell lock left. Looks like he's saving it. Majin getting a pet out to try and lock Chanimal out. Will he land? He lands a lockout on Chanimals. Maybe they're just going to go in. Double Shadow Fury. Dark Soul out from Majin. He wants to get some casts out while Chanimal is locked out. Will he get enough dots out? He's just not getting the casts off. Tempo Storm just line of sighting him effectively. Asper playing patient. Now popping the Incarnation. Trying to build up some pressure here onto Gorecki into that full rake stun. Gorecki's going to trinket out, lands a bash. Asper's going to trinket out of the bash. Land a stun under Gorecki. Gorecki's forced to Barskin to reduce the damage. Jamili's actually running out of mana, and I wonder if that's going to play a factor here. Now getting swapped over to by Asbury. He's going to pop that Shamanistic Rage. Full bleeds are up. Ironbark overlapped with the Shaman Rage. Now Gorecki is running out of cooldowns to deal with the rest of this Incarnation, and despite Chanimal shutting down Majidin, Weeback are pulling this game in their favor. Gorecki forced a Hellstone. His entire team rotting down to the pressure of Asbury's Incarnation. We see Majidin pushing up, trying to soul swap some dots around here, trying to go for that Haunt. He does get spell locked though by Chanimals. Chanimals slowing down the pressure and giving Gorecki more breathing room.
For whatever reason, as soon as I began to talk, I swallowed a lot of saliva in the wrong throat. But HNG is forced defensive, using that regen as well. As Floria is being put through those fears, he's going to catch the Earth Shield, and he's going to use the regen. He's going to be able to be completely fine here. We are at 9% dampening, and Floria at 86% mana has got to be feeling good moving further into this game. Once again, though, they're going to be pushing in and get the bash out onto Floria. Gorecki in the middle of the map is going to be bashed up as well. Majidin getting hexed up by Dampener, however, and the dampening is just stacking up more and more. We're at 11% dampening at this point, and it really can go either way. I mean, all of this damage and all of this setup, I mean, does get the defensive cooldowns, does get the trinkets and stuff like that, but when this game is actually going to start heating up is in a little bit from now. But here we go, Majidin and Asper wanting to get something done right here, right now. The double Shadow Fury and a Gorecki and Chanimal. They're just going to be triple dotting with this Demon Soul. They're just trying to spread as much pressure for Gorecki to have to heal through as humanly possible. Though Mitch is taking a bunch of damage, he's got to be careful. He's trying to get back in line of sight of his Shaman, but he's scared. Gorecki actually taking a whole bunch of pressure as well. Floria getting fully hexed though, and Asper has got to be careful and not go down to this Ascendant from Dampener.
Yeah, but the next Incarnation for Asper could win the game just outright. It's going to be at the same time as Majidin's Dark Soul. Let's see if they can just push through. Dampening will be very high as well. Feloria still has that Ascendance to kind of recover through the next Dark Soul that Chanimals has available. Asper's going in hot. Full bleeds are up onto Gorecki. He's trying to bait that Barkskin before the Incarnation. I don't think he's going to find it though. Gorecki's not falling for the tricks. Full clone over onto Chanimals from Asper, trying to shut him down here, but Dark Soul still available. Let's see if Chanimal decides to pop it right away. Once again, Majidin's getting interrupted after interrupt. And now, though, he should be able to free cast, get some dots out, got some nice dots on the channels, soul swapping them around. Majin trying to create some pressure here. They really want to get that bark skin from Gorecki before Incarnation. Can they do it is a question. He's down to half HP. He's going for those hard casts. He's dispelling his dots. He's doing a good job playing it through without using that bark skin just yet, but it's costing him his mana. He's down to 30%. Jamili rotting down now as well. He has no Shaman Rage for 9 more seconds. Incarnation coming up in 8. Dark Soul for Majin coming up in 18. It's looking very scary for Tempo Storm right now. Tempo Storm getting Jamili getting locked on that Lava Burst. Double Shadow Fury. Maybe a bit of a mistimed Shadow Fury because that's going to DR the stuns for Asper's Incarnation. He might have to just go after Chanimals. Looks like he's looking for some clones. He manages to bait and interrupt out from Chanimals, which means that Majin should be able to free cast here shortly with this Dark Soul. As I say that, Jamili wind shears him, but now there's no more interrupts. Chanimals can pop this Dark Soul freely. They have Incarnation. They're trying to bait them in, I guess. They're pulling back for now. They know that they could build a lot of pressure with this next push. Gorecki's drinking. They cannot let this happen. They have to go in. They need to just pop this Incarnation, go crazy. But Asbury instantly getting bashed on the Incarnation from Gorecki. Not falling for any of these tricks. Now getting cloned up on the Incarnation. Great shutdown from Gorecki. Tempo Storm were looking very grim, and now it's looking very good. Majidin down to 30% with a full clone over onto Floria. He's being greedy, holding onto his trinket. He wants to save it for the absolute last moment, but his entire team is rotting down, and Floria is struggling.
Their entire team indeed is rotting down. Chanimals Demon Soul is going to be fading. Can Floria pick his team back up now that he has that breathing room? But now Majidin wanting to get aggressive with his regen, as well as that Demon Soul dampener catching the Iron Bark from Gorecki at 25% mana and at 28% dampening. This is not looking good for Tempo Storm once again, as Floria's mana pool is sitting pretty, but at the same time, Tempo Storm has shown that they can find those openers and really punish the aggression of Weeback and just chunk people's healths. And as we get deeper into damage, it's going to be harder and harder for Floria to heal through that. Bash goes out on Gorecki. He is in that bear form, however, but Mitch is just going in on him. He's going to catch a huge Nature Swift and heal and top him back up, but they're not going to be done with him just yet. This is the Ascendance from Dampener pushing back Majidin on his Warlock, bringing him down to 50% health here. Mitch is going to go ahead and eat that that Blood Horror on Chanimals. And look at Gorecki, though. He's struggling to heal them through this. As we go deeper into dampening, I feel like Weeback is better equipped to take down this LSD. Gorecki at 40% health here, and is continuing. He's going to get fully cloned up, and Dampener at 40% health here is going to force Gorecki to trinket out of that to keep his team alive.
Majin as well, though, is down to half. Floria doesn't have that Ascendance. Ascendance is the most important cooldown for him. He's going to portal back. Will he need to link? Floria hasn't used a link all game. Very ballsy, but at a certain point, his links aren't going to do anything. His entire team is going to be so low. This is good. He saved his Ore Master. He didn't overlap them. He's spacing out his cooldowns really well. Despite maybe not playing a Resto Shaman very often, he's playing this matchup really well. This can be very challenging for a Shaman to space out his cooldowns against a dampening comp like this. But Gorecki's completely tapped. There's no Shaman Rage. There's no Iron Bark. At the same time, Majidin needs to be careful. He doesn't want to throw the game here. He's down to 20%. Floria dispelling the dots, but he eats the Shadow Fury. Dampener's looking to finish him off. Will he get it? Doesn't manage to finish him off. We see the Tremor Totem drop from Floria trying to break up the CC. Gorecki is rotting down. 6% mana remaining. Weeback just have to hold it together for a little bit longer to finish this off. Chanimals Dark Soul is ticking, though. Chanimals is looking to end this. We see Majidin pulling out a pet and locking Chanimals out. That lockout was so important to stall out the game, but Gorecki's drinking in the backline. He's going to bash up Asbury. He did get 10% mana back. Can Asbury finish him off? 50% HP remaining. He still has that Barkskin, but he's still holding on to it. That Barkskin is so precious to Gorecki. We see Dark Regeneration forced up from Chanimals. It is not looking good for Tempo Storm. Jamili is running down to 37% as well. Floria dispelling the dots, trying to keep his team offensive as possible. Incarnation comes up in 10 more seconds. T-minus 10-second countdown for Weeback to take this game. They got the Shaman Rage right before the Incarnation. This is Weeback's game right now. They just do not need to throw. Just line of sight some more damage. We see that Tempo Storm have no damage cooldowns, no Dark Souls, no Ascendance, nothing really to counter pressure. Majidin running down, pops the Dark Regeneration. I'd really just like to see Floria go right on top of Tempo Storm, drop both of his links right in a row and finish them off. Dampener rotting down, 30% HP remaining. Can Asbury finish him off? He's going to get cloned up by Gorecki. NS forced out, dampening at 44%. Both teams rotting down below 50%. How much longer can each side keep it up? We see Majidin trying to fake cast the counterspell. He fake cast the counterspell. He's going to be able to free cast here. Can he output enough damage to finish off Gorecki? Gorecki gets stunned on his trinket and will fall, and we back to game number 1 against Tempo Storm. Jamili not giving up the fight, popping the Aura Mastery Ascendance, trying to get some Lava Bursts off, but it's not going to be enough. We back dropping the links and taking game number 1.
This is a very different game that we've seen Weeback in the past. They have been just sticking with that Mage, Moonkin, Holy Paladin composition throughout the entire tournament, and this is completely different. We just saw Feral Lock Shaman come out from Weeback, taking down Tempo Storm.
Damage! I said he was playing good, but I didn't think he was playing 20 million good.
We're going to take a quick look at that scoreboard in a second while we go through that replay. And they just got completely rotted down by this FLS versus this LSD, taking Tempo Storm maybe off guard. This is the first game Tempo Storm has ever lost in GCD Pro League Tournament number 5 with their new roster. And we are coming back from that lower bracket and taking on Tempo Storm in a best-of-5 series. Can Tempo Storm adapt accordingly this time around? Tempo Storm is going to know what composition we will be choosing well before they jump into it. And we're going to see what composition that is indeed very, very soon, guys. Very, very soon indeed. It's versus Tempo Storm here in a best-of-5 series in the finals of the GCD Pro League Tournament number 5, the last tournament before the final of the entire season. So who will come out on top? We're going to find out. Tempo Storm has that comp change advantage. If they run FLS again, what are we going to see from Tempo Storm? I mean, they have that RMD. They have the God comp. They have lots of stuff to choose from.
I think if we saw FLS again, they would definitely play RMD. I think they probably could take control of the game. I don't know how proficient they would be in that matchup. I mean, obviously, Asper's practiced on some training dummies, outdamaged everybody in that game by a significant margin. And Majordan did surprisingly well as well. He was only 3 million behind Chanimal. And he was getting interrupted so much, so credit to Majordan, maybe not playing a Warlock as often as would be expected, but he did pretty well fighting up against the Titan. But that comp matchup definitely favors the FLS, so I like that. We back showing some diversity. And you can see the teams that make it to the finals, the teams that win are the teams, for the most part, that have diversity and are going to consistently win. So I like that they have this comp, they threw it out, it worked for them. Now, how do they play forward in the series? I would expect if they pick FLS, that Tempo Storm will play RMD. How confident are they in that matchup? It's not really the same because Asper is going to be the one that's under pressure, and he really carried the team with damage. But now if he's the primary focus target, he's going to be relying on Majordan to try and carry him. And is Majordan's shoulders big enough to deal with the RMD menace of Tempo Storm is the question. Or do they just switch back to Mage Moonkin and say, whatever, we won the first game, so we can always counter you after this point, and we're just going to play what we're confident with because we know that you'll just counter our FLS if we pick it. So they have a couple options.
Yeah, I mean, what would be the most universal option to choose? So if you guys aren't aware, because Tempo Storm is actually the losing team of game number 2 between WeBack, they have now the option to choose what composition they're facing against. So WeBack has to announce their comp to face Tempo Storm. They can change their composition. They don't have to stick with the same one they won in game number 1. They can change it to whatever they want, but that means Tempo Storm still is going to have that opportunity to change that comp to whatever they choose, whatever they please. Is there a universal composition that WeBack has available to them that you feel would have the best bet against all of the compositions available to Tempo Storm? Is that just going back to Mage Moonkin and trying to go for that 10%?
I mean, their strategy looked pretty good, but maybe they just want to keep playing FLS so they can keep fresh with it, even if they know they're going to fight RMD, just so they can keep playing their classes and get used to it so that when they do get that chance to counter it back, they can. Because once Tempo Storm has to pick their comp first, let's say they just say, okay, we're going to pick RMD because we can't win against your FLS with LSD, we'll pick RMD. And then Asper will have to be, okay, well then we have to play Mage Moonkin because we can't beat you with FLS. So if Asper's team can beat the RMD with Mage Moonkin, that's going to be very important, I think, in this series. That or both teams just keep going LSD, FLS, but I don't think that would be smart. It definitely looked, I would say, fairly one-sided. Flory didn't have to use any links until the very end, despite getting Asper caught out in a few stuns and getting Majordan very low as well. Flory was able to hold on to his links for the entire match until the very end to just push in and finish them off. So it looked very one-sided. Don't think it would be smart for them to play LSD into the FLS. Maybe they just need to be able to play RMD and beat the Mage Moonkin with RMD.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it plays out exactly like that. But, you know, I can't help but say I'm actually so impressed with WeBack. I mean, these guys just came back together this tournament. They've been playing with different partners and whatnot throughout previous tournaments, and they're coming back together, and they're also, not only are they playing so well with their main composition, but they also are changing up alternative compositions that they haven't been playing ever before in a tournament scenario, and doing well. Especially against one of the best teams in the tournament, if not the best teams in the current tournament, making it all the way to the finals without dropping a single game until now versus WeBack. Whew.
Yep. So I really wonder what I would expect them to pick FLS. Asber's team pick FLS. Probably not going to beat the RMD. If they beat the RMD, they're winning this, and you're eating a ghost pepper. I'm sorry, D Machine, but they're probably not going to beat the RMD. I wouldn't expect. I mean, maybe they do, maybe they can. Maybe they can surprise us. That was probably the most damage I've seen from a Feral Druid, like, ever. I've honestly never seen the Feral Druid so significantly outdamage the Warlocks in that matchup specifically, like a damage matchup like that. So maybe Asver has some trick up his sleeve, like, and maybe they can beat it. But I would expect FLS. They should just pick it. Obviously, Tempo Storm need to change. They'll probably play RMD. And let's just say, let's predict everything, man, if we've got time. Tempo Storm most likely probably going to win RMD versus FLS. And then they've got to lock in RMD first, and then Asver can switch to Mage Moonkin, and then that's the real deciding series, I think. Who's going to win that matchup, Mage Moonkin or the RMD? Because this one I'm expecting FLS and RMD, or maybe Mage Moonkin and LSD. But either way, I'm expecting that what the
Tiger's Peak has popped, and here we go, guys. We're gonna jump right into it. I'll see you guys in a hot minute. Welcome everybody to Tiger's Peak. It's We Back versus Tempo Storm, and We Back are playing Rogue Boomkin Restoration Shaman. I don't see.
This confirms it's a throwaway. This is just a throwaway match for them. They know that they probably won't win it, so they're just trying to take a 10% chance to win with combat and Moonkin and one-shot somebody. So this is definitely a throwaway game. We Back, if they can get a surprise kill, we'll get a significant lead, but I kind of doubt it here against Tempo Storm's God Comp. Jamili already sheeping up Majid in here. Asber getting silenced. Floria into the sheep. Asber completely exposed. He tried to shadow meld. He actually shadow melded just a second before the Horrify and was able to blink away, pausing the damage for a second, but he's forced to Trinket. He's forced to Barkskin. Now desperately popping that Celestial Alignment to try and make something happen. He's just so low on health at the moment. Floria getting Frost Shot. Asber gets locked out down at 39%, but Floria is no longer CC'd. Should be able to pick him back up. Majid in building up towards his red buff here. Who are they going to go on is the question here. Gorecki getting bashed, but that Celestial Alignment didn't really get much done. Growth Silence on the Peekaboo. I'm expecting Peekaboo to kind of be the target, but I really don't expect We Back to win this.
Deep Freeze on the Floria, and Asper's got nothing to deal with this Floria without a trinket for 9 more seconds. He's got to be careful. He's just going to go ahead and line of sight here, and this is not what they want to do. Now they're swapping the damage over onto Mage and Eric in that full Hodge. Mage and Eric going into the Horrify, catching a big Mastery heal from Floria right before that, though. But now the full Polymorph lands. This is the killing spree out from Mage and Eric onto Peekaboo, chunking him down to 30% health here. The full blind goes out on a Gorecki, forcing the bubble, and We Back are getting defensive cooldowns, but I still feel like the ball is still in Tempo Storm's court here moving forward into this game.
Yeah, Asber getting locked on that clone. He's not able to bark him, but Smoke Bomb gets dropped. Majid in on that rogue, looking to get a dispersion out. Blessing and Protection gets purged. Floria was ready and waiting and purged that thing off right away. Jamili getting cloned. Gorecki into the root beam. He's going to use that stone form to get out. Peekaboo's only last line of defense is that dispersion. Gorecki gets locked out. He might need to use it. And despite me saying that We Back might lose this, they're doing a lot of pressure on a Peekaboo. Down to 30%. His Save by the Light is going to proc. Offensive Cloak of Shadows out from Generic here as he uses his Vanish, trying to build up some more combo points for the next kidney shot here, and that dispersion is the last line of defense. Gorecki has nothing. Maybe they could even swap to Gorecki and 100 OM is a real question here. As we're just checking out his damage at Peekaboo for now. Maybe they don't want to risk that push because Valoria has no trinkets. Neither does Asber. No Barkskin as well. Maybe they just want to pull back and wait. Asber looking to maybe get a clone. Lands it on Jamili. Jamili blocks out. Jamili's ready to go. He's trying to get a polymorph. There's the deep freeze. He goes for the poly. Gets garroted. Mages in with the re-stealth shutdown onto Jamili. Maybe they can punish him for the offensive block. Doesn't look like they can just yet. Asber, the primary target, dipping digitally low. Trinkets that Hodge right away. Trying to desperately get out of line of sight, but he just can't make it. 13%, desperately trying to line of sight Peekaboo from finishing him off. 15%, not enough to make it, and We Back are going to fall. That surprise factor, not going to be buying them game number 2, but this is kind of what I expected. Like, this is just a throwaway game. Now the next match, Tempo Storm have to pick first, and then We Back get to respond.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I still feel like even that throwaway game looked like they had some sort of momentum that they could, like, figure out with that Rogue Boomkin, or yeah, Rogue Boomkin Restoration Shaman composition. Just seemed like, I don't know, it was possible for them. But there you have it. Tempo Storm is going to take game number 2 here, and we're going to be moving on to game number 3, where WeBack is going to have the composition advantage this time around.
Yeah, and I wonder if Tempo Storm is just going to say God Comp. I mean, FLS also does pretty good against God Comp, so, and I think Asper's team does enough damage to be able to take Tempo Storm's God Comp. This is really interesting, like how they're switching to. This is kind of where we were expecting WoW Arena to get to after the past years, where people are like playing their alts, playing their different classes, their different specs, and now it's getting to the point where people are like wild card comps to try and get surprised. We've seen lock shaman mirrors randomly from people that were notorious for playing only mage paladin or mage druid comps. People are just learning everything to try and get every edge that they can, and it's kind of cool. This is one of the most interesting finals I think we've had, and it's very diverse.
I love it. I love seeing the alternative compositions coming out from these teams, really putting their abilities to the test. And, you know, Mage Generic, I always hear Majidin talk about Mage Generic, his rogue, almost as like a joke, but I have to say, there were some plays coming out from Mage Generic that game, like the Vanish Garrote on the follow-up CC and stuff like that. You just love to see the level of play on alternate alt characters even. So, and these guys, they are equipped with only 3 players on this team, but Tempo Storm, they just have every comp they could ever want available to them, and you know, it really does pay off. Like, for example, when they have that composition advantage, you see a composition like Rogue Boomkin Resto Shaman coming out from WeBack, trying to anticipate some sort of you know, surprise factor against Tempo Storm, and they're very solid in terms of their play and their multi-classing. So this is definitely an all-star lineup that seems to be taking the tournament by storm here, going all the way to the finals. Now it's currently tied 1-1 in this best-of-5 series. We're taking our time, letting these guys figure out what it is they want to do here in game number 3 between Tempo Storm and WeBack. Make sure to follow all these guys on Twitter. They are some amazing players. Goreki, of course, he multi-comps like no other. Peekaboo has that rogue abilities that you just never see. Like when Peekaboo pops dance, it just feels like time stands still. He also plays the Shadow Priest. We just saw they play the Shatter play. Chanimals, of course, the BlizzCon champion Warlock. Follow him on Tepo Chanimal and Jamili, the one and only on the Frost Mage, as well as that Shaman. We saw Dampener coming out. But they're going up against WeBack, Majidin, Floria, and Asper. Asper playing Boomkin and Feral so far this tournament. Floria playing Shaman and Paladin, and Majidin playing Mage as well as Rogue and Warlock. And here we go. We're going to be jumping into Tolvaron Arena here for game number 3. I'll see you all in a hot minute. Welcome everyone to Tolvaron Arena. It's WeBack versus Tempo Storm, game number 2. And Majid and Asper and Floria, they're going to stick with the Mage, Boomkin, Holy Paladin team. But you know, Jamili and Chanimals, they're actually swapping the MLP for that.
Yeah, Mage like Paladin, and both these teams are playing different comps than we've seen in the series. But this match determines the series. If Asper wins, he's winning the next one, or losing the next match, but winning the series, and you're eating a ghost pepper. So if Asper wins this, is very important for your mouth tea machine.
Okay, well, that being said, in anticipation for such a turn of events that I didn't think was going to happen, I'm going to be honest, I did order the ghost pepper on Friday, and it's still not here yet. So I'm going to have to make a separate event on Tuesday, which is when it comes in for that ghost pepper showing, I guess you can call it. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. I really don't want that to happen. But I love my boys WeBack. Celestial Alignment coming out from Asper. He's trying to chunk down Goreki into this. Hodge out of that Deep Freeze, forcing the bubble. Great defensive cooldown usage by Goreki. I like how he just traded up the bubble. He didn't mess around with the Trinket or the Ore Mastery, none of that. He's just going to bubble, not even wings. But here's the wings coming out now as the Celestial Alignment fades. Deep Freeze goes out on the Floria. Hodge goes out onto Asper. He's going to Bark Skin up right away. But the Frost Shot followed up into the half Polymorph onto Floria. I think he actually did get broken out of that half polymorph quickly. Chanimal's in trouble though.
Yeah, Goreki was forced to trinket there. A big overlap with that Dark Regeneration and Aura Mastery, and suddenly Tempo Storm have nothing. Floria still has Bubble. He still has Trinket. 2 blocks on Majidin. They definitely have a huge lead here. Asper pulling back for the time being, but they kind of left Majidin behind. He's going to blink back, try and catch up with his team, reconsider their options here. Now getting the Trinket, getting the Bubble. Maybe they swap to Gorecki again, try and 100-0 him. It's a little bit of an interesting decision here for Tempo Storm. I believe Gorecki still has that Ore Mastery save. Deep Freeze over onto Asper. He locked Floria out. Jamili looking for a 100-0, but didn't get any damage out. There's the Sheep to follow it up, though, onto Floria. Asper's still in trouble. Floria's going to Bubble. They know they have this game in the bag if they can connect on the Chanimal. There's the Fist of Justice. Chanimal has nothing left to deal with this. Jamili needs to peel. He's trying to get the Polymorphs. He gets Solar Beamed on the Polymorph. He's going to block it. Chanimal's still in trouble. Full clone onto Gorecki. No way out. Chanimal getting bursted down hard. Jamili needs to keep him alive. Sheep over into Majin. Fear over onto Asbury. And these peels are keeping Chanimal alive. And in this game, close call for Tempo Storm.
Oh my gosh, Chanimal's got to be feeling the pressure right now. But now they're swapping it over on Asper. The Hodge goes out on him. He gets the Bark Skin off. Floria going through all of the CC, though. Asper catching the Ice Novas to go out from Jamili, but he is on the run, and he should be able to survive for now. And then moving forward into it, Jamili's not done with him yet. He's desperately trying to end him, but Majidin looking for the Polymorphs out onto Asper is going to be enough to, or I'm sorry, onto Jamili is going to be enough to save Asper's life one more time. Floria now catching him with the Wings execution sentence to turn it back around. Jamili taking a bunch of the pressure, and a sacrifice from Gorecki is going to come out right before the Deep Freeze. They couldn't follow it up with the Polymorph because of that. Great job by Gorecki having that presence of mind, but Jamili still in a lot of trouble here. The full Polymorph lands for free, and that's going to force the block on Jamili.
Yeah, and he's got none left. He used that block to save Chanimal earlier, and now suddenly Chanimal and Jamili are very exposed targets to go down. Jamili still not getting topped off. Gorecki needs to get some cast here. He gets locked out by Asper. Weebacker looking to take Jamili down. Ice Nova connects. Starfire flies out. Gorecki gets Solar Beam. He pops the Avenging Wrath, barely getting the heal onto Jamili in time to save him. Close calls over and over for Tempo Storm. Gorecki should keep his team tops. Asper needs to start running here. He's already on the opposite side. Majidin is exposed as well here. Maybe they swap to Floria. They're going to deep him. They're dotting him up. They're swapping over onto Floria. He's completely exposed in the center of the map. Drain Soul is up, but he should be able to cut away. Asper throwing out some off heals, rebuffing him. Weeback are going to recover. Now Trinkets available on both sides. I really expect Jamili to be the target for Weeback moving forward in this game, but Jamili's just soloing Asper in the center of the map. So much damage following it up. Haunt connects out from Chanimals, but Asper's just going to line of sight. Jamili is pulling back. Both teams are kind of reluctant to move forward. Asper throwing out some damage over to Jamili. Majidin blinks in, goes for the deep. He's looking for the Sheep. He doesn't manage to get it. He gets locked out, but he connects the Frostjaw. Does he have enough time? Jamili is shutting down Majidin very well here, breaking up the CC. Chanimal fearing Asper as well, buying Gorecki a little bit more time. Now we see Jamili's Deep Freeze. He's looking for a Sheep. He lands the full Sheep. Asper is on the run. Are they going to swap targets here? Once again, Majidin has one more block remaining. They're going to Hodge up Majidin. He's going to blink out, though. He locks Chanimal on that fear, breaking up the CC for Floria, but Jamili follows it up with another Sheep. Majidin is getting lower and lower. Floria is forced to pop the Avenging Wrath. A setup over on the Chanimals. Gorecki got locked out. Now the lockout has finished. He's getting the heals out. Chanimal will stabilize both sides, kind of tiding out here. Majidin building up some damage, but actually getting feared up by Chanimal. Jamili feeling the heat here. He still has no blocks for another minute.
No blocks for another minute indeed, and Floria is going to get into that deep. He does get the Hand of Sacrifice out on Asper preemptively, preventing the CC. A great Hand of Sacrifice from both these Holy Paladins here so far, and we are just 30 short seconds before dampening here. And Gorecki and Chanimals, they've survived long enough at this point, as well as Jamili, to be able to have that Trinket on Gorecki, as well as the Bubble. But Jamili without blocks has got to be careful, and Celestial Alignment is available for Asper. He could just blow this mage out of the water at any moment. Gorecki in anticipation is going to use that Wings to keep him alive for now, but Weeback is just going to pull back, and that's another defensive cooldown Tempo Storm won't have in their arsenal for their next setup. Majidin has both blocks available to him. Look at Weeback's arsenal. Blocks, Barkskin, Trinkets for for Floria and Asper. They feel good, but the Hodge goes out on Asper. Floria looking to get into CC, but Majidin stops it. Great job by him. Bash on a Chanimals. The full clone lands on a Gorecki. He's going to go ahead and bubble out of that, as that was the Celestial Alignment out from Asper. Chanimals actually getting cloned up at low health. They're swapping the damage over on a Jamili with all of this. Gorecki going to go ahead and Aura Mastery, but put into the full Polymorph. He has the Trinket available to him, but he's trying to hold on to it for dear life. There's the Execution Sentence and the Trinket from Gorecki, and Jamili, though, has that block now available to him at 3% dampening, but that's a lot more defensive cooldowns that Tempo Storm no longer has for Gorecki.
Yeah, we see Channel with his Dark Soul out looking to make something happen on Asper. Asper sees it coming, blinks back to the pillar. They're forced to swap onto Majidin. Potentially, he is in the center field. We see Floria still getting polymorphed. Asper has Barskin, but he got locked out. Maybe they can burst him through it. Majidin down to half HP, rotting down. Chanimal chains the polys into a fear. Can he keep this fear chain going? Gets the half fear. He can't really get the quarter, though. Floria should be able to top off his team with the Avenging Wrath. Pops the Avenging Wrath, tops his team off. Now, we back, need to strike. Deep freeze over onto Gorecki. Can they get the sheep? He's going to block to get the sheep. They're looking to end this game. Chanimal getting bursted down hard by these Star Surges down below 28% HP. Dark Regeneration is ticking. Double Shadow Fury. Fear onto Asper to peel. Polys onto Majidin to peel. Great peels from Jamili and Channels. But Asper is in hot pursuit. Chanimal's gates or portals out of line of sight. Snags a full fear onto Floria. Floria's going to trick it. They're looking to end him. Channels goes down, and we back take this game and take a lead 2-1. And we're 1 win away from a Ghost Pepper in your mouth.
Oh my gosh, stop. What is going on? This is actually, I'm not even mad, man. These are some of the greatest games we've seen played in this entire tournament. This is such crazy gameplay coming out from both these teams, as well as the adaptation and compositions from these guys. And jeez, we back just 1 win away from taking the tournament by storm, getting knocked down to that lower bracket by Tempo Storm. And now coming back for vengeance here are up 2-1. Oh my gosh.
Are you feeling the heat?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. When I watched Hansel eat a ghost pepper on stream and like the way that he reacted to it, I'm actually terrified right now. That looked like pure hell. Why did I
have a lot of milk?
I was like semi tipsy, and I was in a call with Majidin, and he said that he's gonna be joining his old team again, and I got really excited, and I told him I'd eat a ghost pepper if he won, and now I'm just like eating my words literally so bad right now. What is happening?
All right, so now again, this is kind of a throwaway game. I would really expect probably the Resto Shaman Rogue Moonkin again. It looked fairly well for them, and it's just kind of their wild card comp. They're not really expecting to win this because if they pick FLS, they're going to get countered by RMD. If they pick Mage Moonkin, they're going to get countered by LSD. So they pick a middle wild card comp like Rogue Boomkin Resto Shaman to try and catch Tempo Storm by surprise because they already are disadvantaged.
Dude, but having a weird wildcard comp in general, just having a weird comp in general available to you is something that's worthwhile in itself. Like, that takes multi-classing even to like the 3rd degree, you know. But we're gonna be jumping into that series. We're gonna be jumping into that game very soon. It's Tempo Storm versus We Back here, and we're going into game number 4. Tempo Storm down 1-0 against We Back, and looking at that bracket, Tempo Storm did not drop a single game throughout this tournament. 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. And now they're in the finals, and they're now down 1-2. This has been a crazy tournament so far. I'm so ecstatic on how everything turned out. It's been amazing. Some crazy amounts of support in the donations. We got a $200 donation not too long ago from the one and only Metaphor Underbog, which was downright just so generous. It's amazing. I won't want to say amazing again because I said it 3 times in a row, but I'm going to say it again. It was amazing. There it is. We also got a whole bunch of donations.
Fabulous.
Fabulous is a good word, but I'm gonna, but is it really fabulous though? Outrageous.
Scandalous.
We also did get a new subscriber that I forgot to shout out. Thank you so much, Rise, for the new subscription. You're my 247th sub, dude. Really do appreciate that. We're 247 subs out of our 300 sub goal here at GCD TV, and the support from the community is awesome. Not amazing, but it's both, okay? It's both. All right, Dalaran Sewers is the next map here. Can We Back take the series by storm, or will Tempo Storm take their free W? Here we go. Welcome everyone to Dalaran Sewers, and this is a very interesting turn of events coming out from Tempo Storm. They're running Frostmage, Shadow Priest, Holy Paladin against Majidin's Boomkin, Frostmage, Resto Shaman. What do you think about this
Asper
matchup?
had to pick first. Asper had to pick their comp first, so
right.
They picked the middle ground. The Shaman might deal with LSD better. Maybe it can deal with the God comp too, so they kind of juggled it up. Again, this match isn't really I mean, it's important to win, but it's not where they have their advantage. So they're going to try and wildcard again with this, with Floria on Shaman. We can see both of the Wizards just teeing off in the center of the map. Floria into the deep freeze, Majid into the Horrify, Trinkets into a silence. Jamili, though, not able to get the sheep. So much damage! Majid had the block already just in the deep freeze. Peekaboo has it dispersed. So much damage back and forth. Harry Potter is in this game himself.
Oh my gosh, it's Harry Potter versus Voldemort in game number 4 here between WeBack and Tempo Storm. And that was dispersed, as well as Bubble from Goreki and the wings forced out by WeBack versus Majidin's just one ice block. And I can't help but feel that WeBack has taken a lead there after that opener. But Jamili is not having that. He is blinking in. He's getting in there. Floria is actually going to get into a deep freeze, but the preemptive tremor is going to be killed. And that triple fear will land. Now the Horrify goes out onto Majidin. He has a next ice block available to him. Floria in that full sheep in the background. He's running towards his Shaman brethren to catch that Spirit Link potentially. And there it is. He's going to catch a Spirit Link, and Floria is going to hold on to his Trinket. So great job by him holding on to his last block. Deep freeze lands on Goreki. He gets that Hand of Sacrifice off, but it doesn't matter because he gets Cycloned on it, forcing his Trinket here. And WeBack, they got a Spirit Link, which is not bad, but at the same time, Goreki has no Trinket or Bubble or Wings for the next 20 seconds.
And no dispersion. So Peekaboo, very exposed target right now, and he knows it. He's just going to stay back. He needs to let Jamili be the aggressor. And Jamili, he is no kinder aggressor to have on your team. Just taking to the center of the map, building up some icicles, blazing speeds in. Majidin has to block just so much damage off of a VT dispel. Asper blinks in, locks Goreki out, and now Peekaboo on the back foot into the full clone. How is Peekaboo going to survive? He's running around desperately trying to stabilize. Fear onto Asper, dispelled immediately by Floria. Can they CC Goreki in time to finish him off? Doesn't look like they can. They're going to clone up Peekaboo instead. Pause the healing. Deep freeze on Goreki. Jamili's trying to shut it down, but he's taking a lot of damage. Forced to block at 9%. Can Majin get this polymorph? He just can't. He gets locked out by Goreki actually on that polymorph, trying to prevent himself from getting CC'd. Deep freeze on Floria. Majin looking to turn, or Jamili looking to turn this around. Lands the full polymorph. Majin already in the perfect position to survive. They're forced to swap on the Asper. He's going to Barkskin immediately, trying to displace in. Asper's still trying to play aggressive. The Barkskin doesn't look like it's enough. He's going to Shatter Meld, trying to avoid a little bit more damage. Floria still getting crowd controlled. Majin caught into the poly. Asper in retreat. WeBack trying to recover and reconsider what they can get done because they only got a block out of Jamili. Dispersion is now available. WeBack have to consider what target do they want to go on.
Oh, Majidin getting a lot of he has no block for 40 seconds. He's got to be careful. Floria getting locked out into the deep freeze. Is this it for Majidin, or can Floria save his life? And down goes Majidin. Tempo Storm tying up this series 2-2 here against WeBack on Dalaran Sewers. Whoo! That was crazy. They found an opening and they just nailed it. Tempo Storm's God Comp was showing them what's what there on Dalaran Sewers. We're going to be going into the match point of the finals of tournament number 5. Who will be your tournament champions between Tempo Storm and WeBack? It's all down to the wire. It's all down to this very last game. And now that means it's WeBack's turn to choose the composition.
Yeah, so Tempo Storm have an option here. Do they just lock in the Holy Paladin God Comp? Because it seemed like Asper's team was pretty or do they lock in the Magelock Paladin? That was kind of, I guess I don't know. I feel like Magelock Paladin would be pretty weak against FLS too. So it was strange to me that they actually picked that. I expected the R&D or the God Comp off that picks, but the Magelock Paladin didn't really work out. They're really struggling to get something done. So now they've got an option. Do they want to put Peekaboo in, I mean, on Rogue, on his main class? Just play RMD, play what Jamili and Peekaboo have practiced for years in the final game, and just beat Asper outright on his own comp. Just deal with it. And no alts, just 100% pure skill. Who is better in the final match? Or do they want to risk it and try and get a counter or like with the God Comp, but then they'll have to fight out FLS? Like, it seems really risky.
Blades Edge Arena is going to be the map choice by WeBack. And, you know, I'm going to be honest. Whenever I see a Blades Edge Arena map choice coming out from anyone, and Tempo Storm is the one competing, I feel like Blades Edge Arena is just Tempo Storm's home base. Every time they have a map pick and there isn't really like a clear advantage of where they could go, like a Ruins or anything like that, they always bring it to Blades Edge Arena. There's just something about that map that just Tempo Storm really strives on. So we're going to be jumping into the last map of this best of 5 series between Tempo Storm and WeBack here in the finals of GCD Pro League tournament number 5, brought to you by Jinx and Splice. Before we get into that series, these guys are still readying up, and here we go. The queue has popped. Oh man, here we go, guys. Who will take it? Blades Edge Arena is your next map. Welcome everyone to Dalaran Sewers. It is Majidin, Asper, and Floria on the Mage Boomkin Holy Paladin going up against Tempo Storm's Shadow Priest Frost Mage Holy Paladin composition. Now, I feel like this has to be said. We back Majidin, Asper, and Floria, or this composition specifically, seem to struggle against Holy Pally God Comp in previous tournaments. They almost always lose to it, it would seem, ever since the gear change as well as the new patch. But here we go.
It seems weird that they would pick it in, but I guess they want to say, like, who is the best, and this matchup could go back and forth. Obviously, they have confidence because they're the ones that picked it into the God Comp.
Yep, they absolutely did. And Tempo Storm choosing to man up, you know, not going for like that dampening comp. They're just going straight for the Holy Pally God Comp matchup, and this is going to be a close one indeed. Here we go. Majidin getting unleashed on by Tempo Storm, bringing him down a little bit here. Asper actually getting silenced up on that follow-up clone. Peekaboo catching the Hannah Sacrifice from Goreki, preemptively trying to stop the next setup. Jamili getting locked out on that Frostjaw. Goreki's going to be put into the full polymorph regardless. Looks like Jamili's actually going to be the kill target for now as everything goes into him. This is a Celestial alignment, and Jamili's just going to trade it up for that block right away. Are they going to swap that damage over onto somebody else, or are they going to wait it out on Jamili? It looks like they're going to pull back for now. Deep Freeze onto Floria now. Asper in the Horrify, and he's going to go ahead and Bark Skin right away, but isn't going to be enough damage reduction on this setup. Floria sitting into that polymorph. He's going to bubble out of that and get the Wings Execution Sentence onto Asper, and that's a very efficient, or very good trade for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, but Goreki got locked out. Pressure on the Peekaboo. He needs to be careful here. He might need to disperse. He's down to 50%. Goreki pops the Avenging Wrath, tops him off right before that polymorph landed. How much damage can Weeback really do right now? Peekaboo's in a decent position, line of sighting with that small pillar below the bridge as we're getting silenced up on that Cyclone. Maybe a bit of an overlap, I think, with a counterspell from Jamili. I don't think it's going to mean too much here. Jamili blinking in, looking for the Deep Freeze. Horrify on Asper. Now Floria most certainly has to trinket if he gets CC'd here. Asper has nothing to survive. Majidin's trying to peel for him. Floria did have to trinket. Goreki caught into the Solar Beam, trying to get some pressure onto Jamili and reverse this game in its face. Mass Dispel onto the root, but Majidin follows it up with another Sheep. Jamili still at 60%, feeling pretty comfortable at that HP. Goreki's no longer CC'd, and Weeback falls severely behind here. The next setup, even though Asper has Barskin, could still kill him right through it. Jamili feeling a bit of pressure, though. Asper following up some Cyclones onto Goreki. Peekaboo just healing up Jamili with some Flash Shields, picking him back up himself. Goreki getting hodged. Are they going to swap? I don't think they are. They're just trying to pause the Hellfire as long as possible. Peekaboo gets a nice Mass Dispel on that Fist of Justice. Majidin getting polymorph for a couple seconds here. Peekaboo and Jamili getting ready for the attack. Deep Freeze onto Floria. This could easily be the game. If they get it, they don't get the Sheep. They get the Fear instead, but he dispels the Horrify, but the Hodge follows it up. Are they going to swap on a Majidin? I guess they are. They're looking to maybe get a 2-for-1 on defensive cooldowns. Majidin down to half HP. Floria switching that Beacon to try and get that Saved by the Light proc. He should stabilize. Goreki caught into a Sheep. Weeback trying to turn this game around, but Majidin dipping lower and lower. Deep Freeze now onto Goreki. Majidin still under fire below half health. Floria only has that Avenging Wrath. He wants to hold on to it for Asper, though, as Asper has no Barskin for the next attack.
Yeah, there's a Solar Beam onto Goreki to follow up the CC, but the damage just doesn't seem there. Goreki, in anticipation of the damage onto Peekaboo, is going to bubble, but they Cyclone him up at low health, and that bubble is almost negated completely because of that. Now the full polymorph is going to follow it up. Peekaboo now caught in the follow-up Cyclone. Jamili taking a bit of pressure. Peekaboo comes out of the Cyclone, takes some Star Surges from Asper as well, and that's going to force the Disperse coming out from him. Goreki gets the Execution Sense before the follow-up Cyclone, though, however, Jamili's got to be careful too. He's not the main kill target right now, but regardless, Saber the Light's going to proc onto him, and Weeback is trying to ride this momentum into the ground and take down Tempo Storm in this match point 2-2. Majidin has both his ice blocks available to him, but Floria's Wings are going to keep him completely fine here moving forward for just a bit longer. Goreki has that trinket still available to him, but no bubbles. Peekaboo without the Disperse. This is potentially an opener for Weeback unless Tempo Storm has anything to say about it.
Yeah, Weeback are looking very strong in this position. Solar Beam on Goreki. Fist of Justice on the Peekaboo. He trinkets out of that right away. Celestial Alignment is available as Asper going to pull the trigger. Double Fear out from Peekaboo. Asper trinkets, goes for the bash on the Peekaboo. Goreki, though, no longer CC'd. Horrify on Asper. Majidin forced to block. He's going to cancel it early. Goes for the Sheep. Peekaboo's in trouble. Alignment gets mopped. Asper's looking to take Peekaboo down here and now. Saved by the Light will proc. Will it be enough? Peekaboo trying to get back to the pillar. Goes for the Mass Dispel. It's a little bit too late, though. Peekaboo still taking a lot of damage. Down at 27%. The Saved by the Light proc is now over. Goreki trying trying to pick him up behind the pillar, and despite not having dispersion, Peekaboo is going to survive. Now counter pressure onto Majoden. Feloria gets locked out into a sheep, Trinkets into a fear. Tempo Storm looking to finish him off. 1 second on hypothermia, and you are saved, D Machine. You are saved.
I am saved indeed, but oh my goodness, what a series. You know, something to note through all that